Good morning, everyone. Today I want to talk to you about four things. Four things that decide whether you live a powerful life or a powerless one: your mouth, your mood, your money, and your mind. Control these and you win. Lose control of them and you're just surviving. Your mouth is the front gate of your character. It's the broadcast station of your thoughts, emotions, values, and intelligence. What you say and what you don't tells the world who you are. And in this world, your words can either be your biggest weapon or your greatest weakness. Most people underestimate the power of their mouth. They think speaking is just communication. It's not. It's reputation, it's influence, it's leadership. When you open your mouth, you are not just making noise. You are either making sense or making enemies. You're either building bridges or burning them down. Some people destroy their chances in life, not because they lack talent or intelligence, but because they never learn to manage their words. They speak without thinking, they interrupt, they dominate conversations. They turn every opinion into an argument. They gossip, complain, or brag, and they wonder why no one listens when it really matters. The truth is, people remember what you say, especially when it's careless, cruel, or foolish. Think about it. One bad sentence can go viral. One bad joke can cost you a job. One rude comment can end a relationship. One emotional outburst can destroy 10 years of trust. The real skill in life is not just knowing what to say, it's knowing when to say nothing. Silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. When you're angry, silence protects you. When you're confused, silence buys you time. When you're hurt, silence helps you heal before you speak out of pain. People think speaking up all the time makes them strong. No, speaking with purpose makes you strong. Anyone can talk, very few can communicate. Great leaders, great partners, great thinkers, what do they have in common? They listen more than they speak. They ask questions. They pause before responding. They don't fill silence just to avoid discomfort. They use their mouth like a surgeon uses a scalpel, not to cut everything, but to cut precisely. What you say also becomes what you teach others about you. If you constantly talk about what you hate, you will be seen as a negative person. If you always criticize others, people will assume you're insecure. If you gossip, they'll assume you gossip about them too. If your mouth is full of noise, people will tune you out, even when you're finally saying something important. But there's another layer to this. The words you speak to yourself matter just as much. The inner dialogue, the stuff you say when no one else is listening, that sets the tone for your confidence, your mood, your mindset. If your mouth is always feeding your brain self-doubt, anger, or excuses, you're training your mind to expect failure. And eventually, you'll act like someone who's already lost. So how do you control your mouth? First, pause before you speak. Don't let your emotions drive your mouth like a stolen car. Check in with yourself. Is this helpful? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Second, listen actively. Don't just wait for your turn to talk. Let people finish. Make them feel heard. You'd be surprised how much respect you earn when you give others space. Third, choose words that build, not words that destroy. Praise in public, criticize privately, and even then, only when it adds value. Compliment more than you complain. Encourage more than you correct. Fourth, protect your credibility. Don't talk just to impress. Don't lie to fit in. Don't exaggerate for applause. Because once people doubt your words, they'll stop trusting your value. Finally, remember this: the smartest person in the room isn't always the one who speaks the most. It's often the one who speaks last or not at all. But when they do, everyone listens. Let me know if you'd like similar expansions for mood, money, or mind. Your mood is not just a feeling. It's a force. It can lift you or break you, make your day or ruin your relationships. And yet, most people treat their mood like weather, unpredictable, uncontrollable, and always someone else's fault. That's the first mistake, believing that your mood is something that happens to you instead of something you're responsible for. You can't always control what happens, but you can always control how you respond. And the way you respond defines your maturity, your discipline, and ultimately, your destiny. Most failures don't come from lack of intelligence or lack of opportunity. They come from emotional decisions made in heated moments. People say the wrong thing, walk away from the right opportunity, or give up too early. Not because it was the right move, but because their mood made them impulsive. Emotions are real, they're human. But letting emotions control your actions is dangerous. Anger can make you aggressive. Sadness can make you retreat. Envy can poison your focus. Pride can blind you. And anxiety can freeze you. The people who succeed long term are not the ones who feel less. They're the ones who have trained themselves to act through emotion, not act on emotion. A person who can stay calm while others panic is not emotionless. They're emotionally trained. They've built a habit of checking themselves before reacting. They don't hand over the keys of their life to momentary feelings. They understand that moods pass, but decisions stick. Your mood also affects everyone around you. You may think it's personal, but moods are contagious. One bad attitude can infect a whole team. One emotional outburst can make everyone uncomfortable. One leader in a bad mood can turn a productive day into chaos. And the scary part is, most people don't even know they're doing it. They think it's honesty. It's not. It's recklessness disguised as authenticity. There's a time for being real, but being real doesn't mean being uncontrolled. It means being aware. It means knowing the difference between expressing and dumping. Venting is not the same as blaming. Sharing is not the same as offloading your chaos onto others. Mood control starts with awareness. You must learn to pause and ask, what am I feeling right now? Why? And is this the right time to act on it? If you can learn to answer that question honestly before reacting, you'll start living with emotional clarity instead of emotional confusion. Another strategy is reframing. When something upsets you, don't just sit in it, reframe it. Is this a threat or is it a test? Is this a failure or is it a lesson? Is this personal or is it situational? The more you reframe, the more power you take back from your emotions. And don't wait for emotions to come in and take over. Prepare for them. Train for them. Just like athletes train their bodies to perform under pressure, you need to train your mind to think clearly under emotional stress. That means practicing mindfulness, journaling, breathing exercises, and even silence. Yes, silence. Because sometimes the best way to control your mood is to give it space without feeding it more noise. Surround yourself with emotionally mature people. Mood is energy and energy is shared. If your circle is full of people who panic, explode, sulk, or blame, you'll start reflecting that behavior. But if you're around people who stay grounded, you'll start picking up their emotional rhythm. Finally, remember, people will forget what you said. They'll forget what you did. But they will not forget how you made them feel. And how you make them feel usually depends on how well you managed your own feelings in that moment. Money is not just currency. It's a mirror. It reflects your discipline, your habits, your mindset, and your long-term thinking. People like to say, money isn't everything, and that's true. But here's the part they ignore: money touches everything. Your choices, your lifestyle, your freedom, your relationships, all are affected by how you manage money. The mistake many people make is thinking the solution to financial problems is more money. But if you can't manage a little, you won't manage a lot. If you're careless with 100, you'll be reckless with 10,000. The problem is rarely income, it's behavior. Wealth is not just about how much you make, it's about how much you keep and what you do with it. There's a reason why people who win the lottery often go broke. Their income changed, but their mindset didn't. They spent like they always did, emotionally, impulsively, and blindly. Money without control is not a blessing, it's a trap. Controlling your money starts with one word: awareness. If you don't know where your money goes every month, you're already losing it. Budgeting is not boring. It's respect. Tracking your spending is not a punishment, it's strategy. Most people avoid looking at their expenses because they don't want to face their own lack of discipline. But pretending money issues don't exist is the fastest way to stay stuck in them. Look closely at where your money flows. Are you spending out of habit or purpose? Are you trying to impress others or improve your life? Are you investing in things that grow in value or wasting it on things that depreciate the moment you touch them? Impulse spending is one of the most dangerous habits in today's world. One click, one swipe, one treat yourself moment, and suddenly your budget is gone. Companies study human behavior so well that they know exactly how to make you spend without thinking. And if you don't have a plan for your money, someone else will. Learn to delay gratification. That's where financial power begins. Just because you want something doesn't mean you need it right now. If you can wait 24 hours before making a purchase, you'll avoid most unnecessary expenses. If you can wait a year to upgrade your lifestyle, you'll give your investments time to grow instead of killing your future for the sake of image. You also have to understand the difference between assets and liabilities. If something takes money out of your pocket every month, it's a liability, no matter how shiny it looks. If something puts money back into your pocket, it's an asset, even if it looks boring to other people. Rich people buy assets. Broke people buy liabilities and call it living well. Build a system. Automate your savings. Set a percentage aside every time you earn. Don't save what's left after spending. Spend what's left after saving. Protect your emergency fund like it's your last breath, because one unexpected crisis can wipe out years of progress if you're not ready. Avoid debt traps. Not all debt is bad, but most of it is. High interest loans, credit card balances, buy now, pay later schemes, these are financial quicksand. The longer you stay, the deeper you sink. If you can't pay cash for it, ask yourself if you truly need it. And don't be ashamed of starting small. Financial discipline isn't about how much you have. It's about how smart you are with what you have. There's dignity in saying, not yet, to things you can't afford. There's power in learning how to grow money before chasing more of it. Make money your servant, not your master. Give every dollar a job. Let it work for you while you sleep. Treat it like a soldier in your army. Each one should be moving toward your goals, not away from them. The mind is the command center of your entire life. Every action you take, every word you speak, every choice you make starts first as a thought. If your mind is undisciplined, your decisions will be inconsistent. If your thinking is weak, your results will follow the same pattern. No one rises above the quality of their mindset. The problem is, most people never learn how to control their mind. They let it run wild like an untrained animal. They let every fear, every doubt, every insecurity take the wheel. They believe every thought that enters their head, even if it contradicts their goals. And then they wonder why they feel stuck, confused, and exhausted. Your mind is powerful, but it is programmable. It absorbs whatever you feed it. If you constantly feed it negativity, gossip, fear-based news, toxic conversations, and self-criticism, then don't be surprised when it produces anxiety, procrastination, and low confidence. Your thoughts don't exist in a vacuum. They shape your emotional and physical reality. The first step to controlling your mind is understanding that you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. Just because your mind tells you you're not good enough doesn't mean it's true. Just because it says fail doesn't mean you will. But if you let those thoughts sit too long, they will build a narrative, and that narrative becomes your identity. Train yourself to interrupt negative thinking. When your mind starts spiraling into worst-case scenarios, pause and ask, is this a fact or just fear? Most of the time, it's fear. Fear disguised as logic. Worry dressed up like realism. And if you let it live in your mind unchecked, it will build walls around your potential and call it protection. You must also become intentional about what you expose your mind to. Protect it like a fortress. Books, conversations, content, Every input matters, garbage in, garbage out. If all you do is scroll through chaos, drama, and distraction, your mind becomes a battlefield with no order. But if you feed it structure, wisdom, clarity, and silence, it starts working for you instead of against you. Focus is another form of mental control. In a world of endless distraction, the ability to focus is a superpower. Most people can't sit still for 5 minutes without reaching for their phone. They say they lack time, but what they really lack is mental discipline. If you can't control your focus, you'll never control your future. Because focus determines direction, and direction determines destiny. Controlling your mind also means learning to manage the internal voice that never shuts up. The inner critic, the overthinker. The one that plays old failures on repeat. You don't have to eliminate that voice. You have to overpower it with a stronger one. A voice of purpose. A voice of truth. A voice that reminds you who you are when the noise gets too loud. Mental strength isn't about always being positive. It's about being grounded. It's about facing reality without falling apart. It's about being able to hold two truths at once. This is hard, and I can handle it. Weak minds collapse under pressure. Strong minds bend, but they don't break. Because they've been trained, shaped, and tested, not coddled or protected. You must also create space to think. In a world that's always shouting, you need silence. That's where strategy lives. That's where solutions are born. If your mind is always reacting, it can't create. And if it can't create, it will just copy. That's how people lose themselves. By thinking with someone else's brain, believing someone else's truth, and chasing someone else's dream. Your mind is not just a container, it's a compass. It either guides you forward or pulls you backward, depending on how well you control it. If it's cluttered, your vision is blocked. If it's clean, your purpose becomes clear. If it's full of fear, you'll hesitate. But if it's full of clarity, you'll act. Self-control is not about deprivation. It's about alignment. It's the ability to act according to your values instead of your urges. It's the gap between feeling and reacting, and what you do in that gap determines the kind of person you become. Without self-control, you're a slave to every emotion, every temptation, every distraction that passes through your day. People often talk about self-respect as if it's some kind of mystery, something you either have or don't. But the truth is, self-respect is something you build brick by brick, decision by decision. And the first brick is self-control. Because if you can't control yourself, how can you trust yourself? And if you can't trust yourself, how can you respect yourself? You can't separate the two. Every time you say you're going to do something and don't follow through, a part of your self-respect cracks. Every time you choose short-term pleasure over long-term purpose, you send a message to yourself: my word doesn't matter. My discipline doesn't matter. My goals don't matter. And over time, that message becomes your belief. Self-control means saying no when it's hard. Not because someone told you to, but because you told yourself to, and you actually listened. That's what creates internal power. That's what builds integrity. The feeling of knowing you could indulge, but you chose not to. Not because you were forced, but because your mission mattered more than the moment. Look at anyone with high self-respect, someone who carries themselves with quiet strength, who doesn't need validation, who keeps their head clear and their standards high. That's not confidence from ego. That's confidence from consistency. They've earned their self-respect by keeping promises to themselves that no one else even saw. Discipline behind closed doors shows up in public self-worth. The workouts you do when no one's watching, the temptations you resist when no one would know, the effort you give when it would be easy to quit. That's where self-respect is forged. It's not about perfection. It's about repetition. Choosing who you want to be over and over again until your identity lines up with your actions. But it's not easy. Everything in this world is designed to test your self-control. Advertisers want your attention. Fast food wants your health. Social media wants your time. and comfort wants your ambition. If you don't take control of your life, someone else will. And you'll wake up one day wondering why you feel so powerless, so distant from the person you thought you'd become. Self-control is freedom. It's the ability to choose your response instead of reacting blindly. It's the space where you take back your power. When you stop giving in to every craving, every excuse, every mood swing, you start to realize how much influence you actually have over your own life. And that realization builds something deeper than pride. It builds respect. The person who can control their mouth when angry, control their schedule when tempted to procrastinate, control their habits when it would be easier to blame the world, that person walks through life with a different energy. Not louder, not flashier, just sharper, steadier, grounded in who they are, not shaken by what the world throws at them. It's not about being rigid, it's about being intentional. You can still enjoy life, you can still relax, but you do it on your terms, not as an escape from responsibility. That's the difference between relief and discipline. One is temporary, the other is transformational. The more you practice self-control, the more you begin to like the person you see in the mirror. Not because they're perfect, but because they're in charge. In conclusion, when you learn to control your mouth, you protect your relationships and your reputation. When you control your mood, you protect your peace and your decisions. When you control your money, you protect your future. And when you control your mind, you protect everything. Mastery begins from within. You don't need more luck, more followers, or more noise. You need more self-leadership. Discipline is not about restriction. It's about alignment. Every area of your life improves when you stop reacting to the world and start responding from clarity. This world will try to pull you in every direction. Anger, distraction, debt, doubt. But your job is to stay rooted. The greatest power is not found in controlling others, but in mastering yourself. People admire strength, but they trust control. Control your words, your emotions, your finances, your thoughts, and you begin to build something unshakable: self-respect. That's the foundation of real success. Not the applause, not the spotlight, but the ability to walk through life steady, sharp, and grounded in who you are, no matter what the world throws your way. Because if you don't lead yourself first, nothing you lead will last. Control isn't about domination, it's about direction. And your direction determines your destiny.